Welcome back everyone, and thanks for coming to the channel. I'm the Knife Doctor, and this is going to be the episode where I walk you guys through my 3 most carried knives. The knives that spend the most time in my pocket out of all other knives. So, with that out of the way, let's go. Alright, so the 3 knives that spend the most time in my pocket. Gonna get it out of the way real quick. Obviously this one. I've said that many times. 6 years I've had this. It's been in my pocket for basically that entire time, with the exception of 2 other knives that I will show you here in a second. Now, this video is gonna be interesting because this is gonna be the first one. We're gonna put some cutting stuff in here, yeah. I do carry these knives a lot, and I do a lot of things with them, so I figured, why don't I put some of that stuff in the video? So you guys are going to get to see each of these knives getting taken outside, but we're going to talk about them real quick, and then we'll head outside and do some cutting. So, without further ado, the number 2 knife, as I have mentioned, is my Protech TR3. Now, why do these 2 knives spend so much time in my pocket? Because they are very nice EDC carry knives. They have good blades for that. They're not black coated, so I don't have to worry about screwing up the finish. They both feel good in the hand. They have relatively good steels, and by they I mean this one has relatively good steel. This one has very good steel. This one being a 154 CM, and this one being a CPM S30V, which is on the other side. There it is. So, I do really prefer CPM S30V, so why this one gets so much pocket time is pretty much just because it's an auto and I love carrying it and love playing with it. But these two see 90% of my pocket time. They say this one's probably, over the course of the time that I've owned them, this one has probably spent 89% of its life in my pocket, and this one's probably spent about 50% of its life in my pocket. And basically these 2 are interchangeable for me. If I am going to work and I go to pick these up and this one's not sharp, I'll grab this one if this one's sharp. If this one's not sharp, I might grab this one anyways, or I might just grab this one in the sharpening kit because this one's easier to sharpen. But if this one's not sharp and this one is, I'm taking this one. If this one's not sharp and this one is, I'm taking this one. And I sharpen my knives, well, when they're dull. Usually maybe once a month, these will get sharpened. But that's really all I got to say about these guys, other than, well, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So that brings us to number 3, the Steel Recon 1. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is the polar opposite of both of those knives. Why does this spend so much time in my pocket? Well, realistically speaking, it doesn't. It doesn't spend that much time in my pocket. However, comparatively to all of my other knives, it spends more time in my pocket than anything else. Case in point, this Cold Steel. I've carried it once. Cool knife, good for certain situations. I just don't find myself in those situations very often. So, just doesn't spend that much time in the pocket. This one was a gift from my wife. Very beautiful, very fun. Twice, maybe? I think I carried it for about a week and then decided I didn't want to cut anything with it because it's got a beautiful black finish on it. And she put my initials on it on the backside, which was cool. So, very beautiful, very well-built knife. Not very comfortable to hold, but we'll get to that in its review, which is coming. So, why the Recon 1? Well, it is got the triad lock in it, which is pretty much, if not the strongest locking mechanism on the market currently. It is wonderful to hold on to. Feels almost like holding a fixed blade because of how well the grip's made. It has CTS XHP, which I got lucky. I bought this knife, honestly, right around the time I bought this knife. So this one's almost 6 years old too. And that was back when they still made these with CTS XHP and these more, you know, the deeper pattern on the G10, which I prefer. The new ones have a pattern like this, the fine pattern, and this 6-year-old fine pattern knife is feels smooth. It's silky almost, which is not what you want in a grip, but it's still got enough grip. I can still hold on to it. It still serves its purpose. It served me well for 6 years. It'll continue to serve me until I buy a new one and retire it, which could really could be another 10, 15 years. I don't know. Or I could lose it, which I hope not. This guy here is 6 years old and it's still got a lot of texture. And I know what you're thinking, you haven't carried this one as much. Well, no, but when I do carry it, I use it a lot harder. And that is why it spends that much more time in my pocket than any of my other knives, is because this is my designated, I'm going to go beat the crap out of my knife for heavy duty labor. I've taken this camping, hiking. I help my buddy drive fence post, and this came out a lot. I've cut a steel, I've cut wire with this thing by clamping the blade on it, which amazingly didn't damage either the blade or the handle. It was very soft wire, but you can do it. I've also laid it on a table and whacked the thing, and I cut some copper wire with it that way, which is not something I would ever do with those two knives. And this is the only knife I've ever used with a black finish, and as you can see, it's holding up pretty well. It's got a lot of smudges on it. Here, let me get those off. So, yeah, it's got some smudges on it and some scrapes, but other than that, the finish is holding up really, really well. There's a little bit of wear right there. But thumb stud's completely deteriorated as far as the finish. The paint on the back lock is gone, is wearing off, and this is what's pretty much almost entirely gone. But it works, it does the trick. So let's take these guys outside real quick, and then we'll come back and I'll tell some stories. So it was really windy outside, and I knew it wasn't going to pick up my voice very well, so I'm just going to do a little voiceover here, proving the sharpness on a piece of paper. This is my Manix 2. This is a piece of banana plant from my backyard. Didn't have any paracord, so we're going to roll up that bed sheet. Bam. That was really easy. It's hard to tell how easy that was on camera. This log is incredibly dense. It's really dry, really old, and not rotten at all. So it was very, very, very dense. I was very surprised by it. Even my Recon 1 struggled with it, and it doesn't struggle with much. Cardboard, that is 3-ply cardboard. So there's 3 layers of cardboard there. Yeah, still sharp. Onto the Recon 1. Very sharp. Very nice clean cut there. Yep, like a samurai sword. Just murdering the twig, or banana plant. Running out of bed sheets, so it's getting thinner every time, but okay. Yep, there we are. Just whacking away at that thing, and it's still putting up a heck of a fight for a log. Kills the cardboard, just absolutely destroys it. And we're going to baton this piece of 1x6. It is just a piece of 1x6, but I didn't have any small enough logs sitting around a baton, so you get 1x6. And she's still sharp. Nice, clean, smooth lines. Onto the TR3 by Protech. Very sharp to start with. This one's going to struggle the most to retain its edge with that 154 cm steel. There is the banana plant again. Running out of that as well. See? And onto the log. It did alright on the log, actually. It has some good blade geometry, and there we were using the serrations to cut into it a little bit. You'll see it's going to get hung up on those serrations on this cardboard here. Not so much with the slash, but there we go. And it was still sharp, surprisingly. Still had some edge to it, so that was pretty fun. Let's go back inside. Okay, so that was fun. As you can see, the edge retention on both of these knives is immaculate. I probably could have done a lot more to both of these and they would have still cut that paper. This one, on the other hand, that was probably about the most I could get out of it and it still be sharp enough at the end because it's 154 cm, which is really middle of the road. But it's still a fun knife, and when I take it to work with me, it cuts zip ties and stuff relentlessly until I need to sharpen it again. But that's the thing with the 154 cm. A couple days, even one good day of hard use, and you need to sharpen it that night. This one can survive a whole day of hard use and probably not cut through a piece of paper like that, but still be functionally sharp for working task. So, story time. Obviously, I told you some of the stuff I've done with this one. This one has a new thing to add to its resume. On top of 6 years worth of daily cutting tasks that I couldn't even begin to get into all of it, it has opened a crematorium bag for the purpose of a burial at sea. That is a rare thing to have on your resume, and this guy's got it. So, kudos to that. Stories, this one, well, this one, its stories, I told the story of this one in the last one. This one pretty much started this channel. But yeah, those are my 3 most carried knives. Fun, most useful knife I've ever had. It's so useful because of the blade shape. Full flat grind, it still has a stabby point, you know, you can still puncture stuff with it, but it really just it lends itself well to slicing. It has all these good choils for you to choke up and do some real fine cutting, but also still a very functional utilitarian knife. And that's about all I've got. So thanks for watching, guys. If you're new to knives, this is kind of a channel based around people that are new to knives, but if you see these and you like them, my recommendation is this one. If you want one of these, buy this one. But if you don't like it and you're looking for maybe some other suggestions, check out my video, Learn Knives episode 1, talking about the 5 basics of how to carry a knife, and Learn Knives episode 2, how to pick your knife. And with that, I want to thank you all for coming. I'm going to roll a clip here really quickly of how all of these fit in my pocket and some opening, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.